welcome to episode 9 of This Conversation Matters podcast. I'm Dr. Susan Protasio, your host, and today we have a very thought-provoking conversation. So let's talk about human dignity. What does human dignity means to you? Do you think your dignity matters to others? Or does the dignity of others matter to you at all? So we're going to dig deeper into that topic, but let me introduce first my guest. And I am so honored that we have here today the director of the academic formation at St. Junipero Seminary, House of Formation of the Diocese of San Bernardino, California. So welcome, Father Ben. Welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Susan. I'm so delighted to be here with you this day and to present this beautiful topic of human dignity.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for your presence too. I really appreciate it. So can you introduce yourself to our audience?
Thank you. Yes, I'm Father Benedict Nwachukwu Udako, originally from Nigeria in Africa. I was ordained a priest in 1995, August 5th. This year will be my 30th year as a priest, thanking God for this wonderful gift of the priesthood. And also, I have been in this diocese for almost 17 years as a pastor at Sacred Heart and also the Vicar Foreign of the West End Vicariate. And I have done some studies here in the United States. Previously I did my studies and have my doctorate in theology, moral theology, from the Pontificia Universidad Comillas in Madrid, and a master's degree in bioethics. When I came here, I did my postdoctoral in philosophy at Claremont Graduate University. And I love teaching. I thank God that the bishop considered me to be able to teach at St. Junipero House of Formation Seminary of this diocese. And I'm glad for what the Lord is doing. I know that our people at Sacred Heart, where I served for 20 years, they really appreciated me and I appreciate them. So I'm so happy to talk about human dignity, looking at the things that are happening in our world today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Father Ben. That's an impressive bio. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I would like to talk about human dignity because there's so much noise going on in the world today that I think that we have to remind people what human dignity is, right? So from your perspective, what is human dignity?
Yeah, thank you. To talk about human dignity is to talk about the human person. And what continues to happen today in our own world has also happened. There is nothing new under the sun. Even in the community of Jeremiah, if you read the prophet Jeremiah chapter 14, there was this cry out that people are suffering. People go to even fetch water they cannot find. People were being molested left and right and up and down. The prophet prayed. So we have crisis in our world today. With everything happening, look at what is happening in different warring nations and what is happening even in our own context here in the United States of America with the ICE and the president of this country. So it's worrisome. So going back, we have to locate what human dignity signifies from theological perspective, and you cannot do theology without reading the scriptures. It is said that the scripture, the Bible, is the soul of theology. So from the scriptures, we locate where human dignity comes from God himself, the creator of heaven and earth. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, he created us in his image and likeness, what we call imago Dei and simulacrum Dei. So we carry the image of God. Human dignity is a gift from God, inherent value, inherent worth of the human person created, by our God. So we carry this dignity that cannot be taken away. It's a gift given to us by our God so that we can live here on earth in a very fulfilled way.
Yeah. And human dignity, like you said, is inherent in every person. And human dignity is something that you don't earn, you don't achieve. And you inherently possess it just by the virtue of being human.
Yes.
Right. And then are there human characteristics that kind of make or kind of contribute to the emergence of human dignity?
Yeah, to clarify,
Yeah.
it is also very, very important to go back to the Catechism of the Catholic Church from paragraphs 1669 to 1715. It is stated and very clearly, every person from the very moment of his life in the womb, his life in the womb has an inviolable dignity. Because God from eternity willed, loved, created, redeemed that person, and also wished that we will live eternally in his happiness.
Right. Yeah.
And this is coming from God. And we need to welcome it as something sacred. That's why the human person is sacred. And no human person should come against this beautiful dignity given to us by God, even though our word says something different.
Right.
It is inviolable and it is universal.
Yes. So now that we say that when we say human dignity is universal and then human dignity is inherent, right?
Yeah.
I wonder, is there a difference in the level of human dignity in every person? Is there a difference?
No, because if we go that route, we encounter what I call moral collapse. It is given equally to every person, objectively, everyone. The same dignity that someone who is homeless on the streets of Los Angeles has, it's the same dignity that someone who lives in Beverly Hills in Los Angeles also has. So it is not reduced. But in ethical balance, my own area of specialization, one can live a fulfilled, human, dignified life by making some choices that will help the person to, in Spanish we call it sobresaliente, that will help you to stand out. Look at what Mother Teresa of Calcutta did in India.
Right.
Look at what a lot of people are doing. So Pope Francis, think about all that he did, considering the church as a field hospital. Look at what is being done here in our Diocese of San Bernardino, the work that people continue to do to promote human dignity. So you can live a dignified life ethically, or you can choose not to live a life worthy of your vocation and worthy of your identity as a human person. And that's where problems like prostitution, people becoming so mean to themselves, they can begin to run down that oil that has been given to them by our God.
Yeah. Well, the reason I asked that question is because of the free will, right? That we make choices. So I wonder if those choices that we make in one way or another can lessen the dignity of a person. But based on your explanation, it is our choice to live, to choose to live a holy life, I guess.
It is using, if you go back to the parable of the talents, to some extent in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 25, verse 14 to 30, when you consider that parable, you discover that these people were given gifts. They are given a talent. That talent, for me, no matter the quantity that was given, the quality is what matters. That you have this gift. One was given 5, the other 3, the other 1, just to make use of. So it is important that we know that we have this as a gift from God. And we need to work out our salvation in fear and trembling according to St. Paul. So someone can decide to live a less dignified life. Not that somebody is taking it away from you, like the man who buried his talent, the third person. Not that anybody told him to bury his talent, but he decided free choice to do that. But that does not make us to condemn that person outrightly or to kill that person because the person did not make use of his talent, because somebody is not living a dignified life. We should not come against that person. That's why the church continues to argue against capital punishment. That we can also repent, that we can give people a second chance,
Yeah.
as Jesus did,
Right.
saying, Father, forgive them, for they do not
Yeah.
know what they are doing.
Yeah. Well, that's wonderful. So probably some people that are listening to us is wondering, why are we talking about human dignity? And human dignity is very important because human dignity is something that we often overlook in our daily lives, right? And so human dignity, so I look into this, and human dignity is very important because it enhances mutual respect, and it promotes social justice and equality. It supports psychological well-being because being valued, being appreciated is good for our emotional and mental health. And also the human dignity encourages peace and cooperation, and it protects the fundamental human rights, which is human dignity is the heart of human rights, right? So my question to you is, the statement that says human dignity is the foundation of human rights. Can you explain further that statement?
Very beautiful. It was Pope John the 23rd in his encyclical letter of 1963, Pacem in Terris, Peace on Earth, number 25, where he located and said that we receive inherent dignity from God, and that dignity, human dignity, is the foundation. He said it very clear, the cornerstone of human rights. We remember also the declaration of the fathers of this country in 1776, the Declaration of Independence,
yeah.
that all men, we hold this truth
Are
to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
Yes.
That their creator endowed them with some inalienable rights.
Right.
And among them, the right to life, the right to liberty, and the right to pursuit of happiness. So there is a connection between human dignity and human rights. The Human Rights, Charter of 1948 describe different rights: right to life, right to property, right to freedom of religion, right to participate publicly in the public life, right to migrate when it is necessary, because the individual may look, may seek greener pastures in order to protect the dignity that has already been given to him or her. That is why in our country today, we have to be very, very careful so as not to jeopardize this dignity that we receive from God, because it is a gift. And also it has a lot to do with human rights. If you remove human dignity, if you begin to jeopardize this, then you are in a way, of course, jeopardizing the Human Rights Charter of 1948, or Pope John the 23rd, summary of this human rights, giving it a kind of a Catholic face in his encyclical Pacem in Terris. So they go together, because human rights is truly the foundation of human dignity, is truly the foundation of human rights. Human rights flows from human dignity.
Yeah, because the human dignity, we cannot discuss human rights without discussing human dignity, because they are interconnected.
Beautiful.
And I like that you mentioned that, if we don't pay attention to human dignity, then where does the human rights go, right? So, and I look online and I check what are the most common problems that we encounter today, where there is a big disregard of the dignity of people. And I am amazed. There's a lot of situations like poverty, migration, lack of respect for the poor and the marginalized, and also racial and ethnic discrimination, and then religious persecution. Some priests in others, countries had been, killed. Yeah. And then also war and violence against women, child labor and exploitation, and even human trafficking. So I was amazed that these are the situations where human dignity is totally disregarded. And then I thought, okay, globally, what are the most common conditions or situations where human dignity are also being disregarded. And I was amazed that there are 5 common human rights violations globally. And that is, like you said, the right to life. That is the fundamental, most fundamental human right, the right to life. And then that violation is done like in other countries where extrajudicial killings are happening, genocide are happening, like torture or inhumane treatment. And another violation is the right to equality, like discrimination of a person based on gender, sex, or sexual orientation, right? And then there's also the freedom from torture, freedom of expression, and even the right to education, which is a basic human right, is also the right of the people are, being disregarded. So I was amazed. So I thought, okay, discussing the human dignity today is very, very timely, So based on your experience and from the perspective of culture, from your cultural experience, how would you define human dignity versus comparing to the Western individualism that we have here?
Yeah, the question is very pertinent, my dear Dr. Susan, to talk about how a particular culture and a way of life can help to promote this dignity within a given context. Or then to make it also a missionary point of view that I can, like an African, born and bred among the Igbos of Nigeria, how do we celebrate this dignity given to us by God?
Right.
In Africa, among my own people, the Igbos of Nigeria, the name of a person is regarded as Mma. Mma means beauty. Ndo means life. That life is beautiful. That is when you see a person in my own culture, that person is telling you life is beautiful. It's like a canticle. It's like a mantra saying Mmadu. This person is Mando. That is beauty. And life is beautiful. In that way, we begin to appreciate the individual. In Africa, a person becomes a person through other persons. So the community comes into play. So we don't believe in individualism the way it is being celebrated, in some other places, especially in the Western world.
Right.
We know with, I teach philosophy to the seminarians, the part of modern philosophy, René Descartes. He said, cogito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am. So it is the individual. I am the all and all. And that makes it, very redundant.
Right.
In a culture where we celebrate auto-creation, self-creation. It is my life. It is my body. Then sometimes we may not pay attention to other people's bodies or lives. John the 23rd, he also said, when you talk about this rights, human rights, remember also to talk about the responsibility you have towards others. If I want to protect my life, we have a genuine obligation to protect the life of other people.
Yeah.
Very powerful. So in Africa, we celebrate this. I am because we are.
Yeah.
So I will celebrate this, but like every other society and cultures, we are fallen beings. We are contingent beings. So some people are also don't uphold this dignity given to us from our own African perspective and cultural realities. And then they begin to behave, like people who are uninformed.
Right.
Like the killings you have mentioned, religious persecution, it is there. Nigeria, you know what is happening at the northern part of our country, and some people kidnapping priests, killing priests.
Right.
So we face all these troubles in a culture that was ab initio sacred, a culture that was from the very beginning humanistic and communitarian.
Right.
Unlike, the Western celebration of individualism, as I have said, it doesn't mean that we believe in collectivity, that everything must be communism. No, it is that the individual expresses himself more within the community. The community helps to mold the individual, and the community helps for the individual to express himself or herself. So I'm very, very happy to do that. And in my own life as a priest, this has been my preoccupation. My image of the priesthood is the image of the wounded healer, Jesus as the wounded healer. And that led me to form a foundation, to begin a foundation that supports children back home in Africa. Giving them education. We have a hospital that somebody built for us in Africa. From here, I always say that America is writing a very beautiful love letters to other nations through your charity, through the things you people do other places. But I want also that charity begins at home, that we may treat our people a little bit better here. The ICE program and the way it is happening, I don't know. We can revisit this. We can look at the immigration policies and see what can be done from a biblical perspective. In Exodus 22:20, the Lord said, treat the widow, the orphan, and the stranger well. Because you yourself were strangers in Egypt, and God delivered them. Therefore, let us be more kind to the migrant community and to people who ought to leave their country, to come to this country. And I'm very grateful that the present pontiff, Pope Leo, was also a missionary in Peru. Therefore, everybody can feel at home wherever you find yourself, because the world belongs to God. While we respect the different legal systems and boundary questions and border regulations, I believe that people have to protect their borders, but let us do that with kindness, as Jesus would have done.
I like what you said, that I am because we are, it signifies community, respect, and it is like a collective well-being of the individual, because I am, because we are. That's wonderful. We have a very thought-provoking, profound discussions today. So thank you so much for sharing your insights, Father Ben.
Thank you, my sister.
So before we end our discussion, is there anything else that you want to share to our audience? Like if you have to say one thing, what would it be?
I would recommend, because of the situation today in our political systems, in our economic systems, and the trouble that people are facing, all the things that are happening in our world, the wars out there, I would recommend the spirituality of the Beatitudes. Very powerful, that we locate in the Sermon on the Mount. Matthew 5, 6, and 7, the entire spiritual direction that Jesus gave to humanity. But Matthew chapter 5, verses 3 to 12 impacts me a lot. I see it as a GPS to go to heaven, and also a modus vivendi to survive here on earth. And Jesus said, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who thirst, who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for the cause of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And blessed are you. Blessed are you, my brother, out there. Blessed are you, my sister, out there. When people persecute you, ridicule you, because of the name of Jesus, Jesus is telling you and I, rejoice and be glad, because your reward will be great in heaven. The life of beatitude, I see it as living the life of Jesus, as living as candidates to heaven. Philippians chapter 3, verse 20, our homeland is in heaven. And also a way to be able to live more peaceful life here on earth. I say, let us begin to practice the Beatitudes. Let us live the life of Jesus, and it will be well with us.
Thank you so much, Father Ben. That's wonderful. It's very profound. I really appreciate your presence today, because human dignity, as I've said before, is something that we often overlook in our daily lives. And I hope that Father Ben and I are hoping that after watching and listening to us, that you will be reminded that every individual has inherent worth, and they deserve to be treated with respect and honor. And as the golden rule says, do unto others what you want others do unto you. So thank you so much for watching, and please click the subscribe button, and then I'll see you in the next episode, and take care of yourselves, and blessings.